parameter seems to be a good one.
Uh-huh. Sounds amazing.
Okay. You're in California right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here she is. Let me share this, Gina. And whoops.
I love that we're color coordinated.
Are we?
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that.
Okay, one more bite of breakfast.
And we should be showing up on Facebook. So we're back, or we're here. Maybe I'm back. I was multitasking, doing all sorts of things, but welcome to this segment of A Day of Light and Love 2022. And I just know that this segment is going to be potent, powerful, and profound. The 3 P's of this segment: potent, powerful, and profound. And I think that if you're tuning in and you don't know Gina, you'll begin to follow her, and she'll become one of your new best friends, because really, truly, she is a best friend to herself, which makes her an amazing best friend to others. But before we dive into that, I just want to say that this is an annual event. We have done it 5 out of the last 6 years and plan to do it every year going forward. It's just a gift to the world that this year there were 18 contributors. So I'm the host. I'm Jeannie Fritsch. I just host these amazing people, assemble them and host them, and get to participate in really elevated conversations that I feel have significance and impact for the individuals who tune in to watch this. And so A Day of Light and Love is here to feed the soul, to feed the heart, even the minds of those who plug in. There's nuggets at every level of advancement, that it was specifically created for those who are traveling through a period of a void. They recognize there's a void, and during the holiday season, specifically Christmas, we notice. Sometimes we notice the void more profoundly for whatever the reason, whether it was death of a loved one, a significant health challenge, a death of a relationship, separation by distance from those we love, any number of things. I have even referenced that, there's alone and there's lonely. And I have been alone. I have experienced loneliness during the holidays before. Interestingly, not always when I was alone. There's a worse loneliness than being alone, and that is when you feel that loneliness and you're in a relationship that doesn't fit. And so, and Gina, we share that experience. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to turn it over to you to introduce yourself to who's ever watching. And then we're going to go into the conversation. You chose a theme: radiance through healing yourself. I mean, I got shivers and chill bumps on my chill bumps just saying the words. But first, please, introduce yourself.
Well, hi, and thank you so much, Jeannie, for inviting me again for this beautiful. Thank you so much again for inviting me to be part of this amazing gift that you give to the world every year. And I am just really honored to be in this company of yourself and the other contributors who are quite magical beings. So I am Gina Brogan, and I have been on a journey, a healing journey, where, as Jeannie mentioned, I was in a very full home of human beings in a relationship, and I felt alone and empty, and a lot of anger and sadness. And then, of course, I felt on top of that, shame for feeling those things. And I know that a lot of people experience this like confusing like paradox in life. And through the process and journey of me finding me, I have become my own best friend, and I have become, I've evolved, I guess I would say, to understand that difference between alone and lonely. And what's really funny and ironic is that now, like, as I feel so full in my heart through finding my own radiance, I seek solitude. And it doesn't mean I run away from people. It doesn't mean I don't interact and engage in relationships, but my relationship with myself and my connection with divine source is my number one relationship that I must fuel and feed regularly, daily, constantly, before I can really be the person I want to be in other relationships. And so I have, through this journey, created a business where I help other women who are recovering from, healing from codependent relationships, a lifelong codependence through patterns that they've learned in childhood and taken into their adulthood, and relationship trauma. And they pick them up on their healing journey, on what I call their post-traumatic growth stage of that journey, to start to find their inner radiance and broadcast that to the world. And so the work that we do is all about learning forgiveness. Thank you, Jeannie, for making that an integral part of my work with my clients. That's something you taught me. Forgiveness, self-love, self-sourcing your whatever it is you need. When we can source from our own insides and our connection with the divine. And then finding, I teach like the 5D model of quantum living. So I teach about next level living, creating from the imagination, creating from beyond our current circumstances through law of attraction and manifestation and quantum living ideas and principles. And so I have a 5D model of quantum living where it starts with accessing, like allowing and admitting your desires, your actual real desires. What do I desire in this life? And then making a decision. I get to have that. I get to be that. I get to live that life. And then my favorite, claiming your divine identity. Who am I? Who am I? And then number 4, anytime we're elevating out of our comfort zone, moving into a new level, there's duality in our thinking, in our belief systems, in our habits and patterns. So we clean up that duality, and then we experience the demonstration in the form of physical manifestation of our desires. So that's sort of a foundation of
that's really amazing, the removal of the duality.
Yeah.
Even in that step, it's like after the practice of connection and knowing and seeing yourself as you truly were made, not what you were told you were, but what you know, or you now know, then really it's a new level of work, isn't it?
It is. It really is. Like, for a lot of people out there, and I really like to work with women who, have been past that trauma. They understand healing tools and gifts, and they're on a path, and they're gaining confidence, and they're starting to go, ooh, what do I want to do now with this? Who am I becoming? There's this whole like imposter syndrome, and there's like, who are you to think that you could heal others? Who are you to think that you can deserve to live a wealthy life? Who are you?
Yes.
And or that doesn't exist in the world. That's only for certain types of people. That duality thinking, it's like, I want this, but I don't get it.
Yes.
Is what we get to clean up.
Yes.
And that requires you to be honest with yourself.
Yes.
About what you're thinking.
Yeah, writing right over stuff and bypassing and being glib about it isn't going to arrive you to the destination that's in your heart to have.
Right, right. And this is where we close that gap between like who we're becoming and who we've been performing as. We've been playing a role, various roles.
Yes.
How do I be the perfect mother, wife, daughter, child, sister, employee, whatever? And that is where we've been keeping our light dim. We have not been honoring who we are.
Yes.
And through this work.
Yeah. I was going to say, I see you move people into fresh creation. That's what I see.
Yes. Yes. Fresh creation. Yeah. We create what doesn't exist yet. And this is the thing. That is why each and every one of us, us conscious souls, came into this physical manifestation in the form of a human body in this time and space that we occupy. That is what we're here to do. And so it's just a matter of clearing away all the conditioning and removing the masks and saying, who am I? And if this is the one takeaway, I would love somebody to, if they're just like, they just take away one thing, it's, I want to be this person, or I want to live this kind of life. If that is shown to you, it is meant for you. It's not a mistake, because what you want is different from what I want.
Yes.
So when we learn to love and trust ourselves, then we learn to follow that. We admit and allow and accept our desires. It's the first step.
So for someone who, because you said, I like to work with people who are past the trauma, how about someone who's in that, moving through that? Are there just a couple of steps that you could offer them if that is them? Because at some point, we had to do that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was to be able to look in the mirror and say, I love you. To start to witness those thoughts that were not mine and they were not nice. That inner mean girl, she's there because that's what we picked up along the way. And we've been trained by well-intended people, our parents, our teachers, our peers, that, oh, you can't do this and good girls have to be like this and stuff like that. So we're always judging ourselves through that lens, which actually is not truth. It's ego. And it has its place. Ego has its place in keeping you safe. Like, hey, don't run out in the middle of the freeway, kind of safe. But it's become out of balance for most people, where that's running the programming. So how do you reprogram yourself to trust yourself, to have confidence, to love yourself enough to say, oh, I am worthy? You start with very basics, like I am worthy. Or you start with like even something as simple as, I know somebody who, and I've been here, was I here, who is really in the heat of pain and struggle and victimhood. You can say, I don't have any desires. I don't know what I want, which I didn't know what I wanted. I remember my mom asking me, well, what do you want with your life? I don't know. Starting from there, you actually probably know what you don't want. I
Very
don't
good.
want to be in this relationship anymore. I don't want to be working this job that makes me feel sick, or I don't want to be burdened, or I don't want to feel like I can't give my kids what they need. So you can start with what you don't want and then take that. I don't want to feel unworthy. Well, then what's the opposite of that? So here, if we have any subject, any idea, any concept, thought, there's two ends of the stick, right? So if we look at, well, I don't want to feel this way anymore. What is the other way, the opposite end of this? I want to feel worthy. I want to feel prosperous. I want to feel safe. That is one of the biggest ones. I want to feel safe. What would it feel like to feel safe in your home, in your relationships, in your body? And then ask yourself, well, what would that feel like? You might not even know, but you can start to attach feeling words, emotions. That would feel uplifting. That would feel fun. That would feel exciting. And then you take it from the general, you can take it to some more specific. Well, what would fun and exciting and prosperous feel like? What would it look like in the real and more specific terms? Because for everybody, that's different, right? Your version of prosperity is different from mine. For me, it meant freedom. It meant time and schedule freedom. And I created that. I have a lot of freedom. And I had to move through what I call power portals.
Love that term.
Right? Where I had very scary moments in my life because I was honoring and catering to and making myself small through seeing myself through the eyes of others who didn't see this version of me. And I was playing a role. And so I just did this work inside of saying, well, I want to do this. I remember walking home. I dropped my kids off at school. I was walking home from school this morning. And I said, I was thinking about all the people who had helped me, from friends to strangers on the playground, to therapists, to coaches. And I thought, someday I want to help people like that. And then you know what my mean girl said? Huh, who are you? Who would listen to you? You're a hot mess express. Who would ever benefit from you? So I had that duality going on. And that was when I realized, wait a minute, I don't know who, but it doesn't matter. It's what I want. And that was what, 2000, let's call it 2016, around 15. And I started making small, subtle shifts in my thinking, in my life, in my energy. It was tiny, tiny movements. And it started with mirror work, looking in the mirror and saying, I love you. Meditation. I started meditating 5 minutes a day. It wasn't a big deal. And then I stepped in and I claimed my divine identity as a coach. It wasn't long after that. I claimed this identity and I went through that duality. Who are you to coach people? You don't even know what you're doing. But it didn't matter. I knew. It was a deep, deep knowing. And I just started following the breadcrumbs. And that's all I've been doing since. I'm following, to this day, I'm following breadcrumbs because it's coming from inside. So I fed the inner radiance by observing my thoughts, recognizing. So here's a really important piece to this. And I tell my clients and I talk about this a lot. It's when those thoughts come up, when that mean girl comes up, she is just the wounded inner child. asking for, begging for, screaming for attention. And we've been trained to ignore her, neglect her. No, you don't. No, you're not here. You don't belong here. Go away. When we start to give her attention and love her and reparent her, she's not screaming anymore.
Right.
She's quiet. She's calm. I see you. Yeah, I get it. You're scared. I mean, I understand it would be scary to think that you're going to put yourself out there as somebody that you're not yet, or that you don't understand how to be her. But that's okay, because I'm going to be with you through it. I'm never going to abandon you. This is what I say to my little girl inside.
Yes.
I'm here for you. And when you are there for that little girl who sounds like a mean girl, she's just stomping around. She's like a little toddler going, no, you can't. But when you see her that way, then the compassion comes out.
Yeah. It's that old saying, hurting people hurt people.
Yeah.
It's that same idea that you have our inner us is hurt from being neglected, being like our voice being canceled, our knowing being canceled. The outward us has gone along with what society has told us. That's counter what we know to be true for ourselves. And we kind of do tacit agreement sometimes. Just we're really not in agreement, but we act as if we are in agreement, and it creates a path that's such
neglect, right? That's neglecting our inner.
Absolutely. And then there's this huge disconnect.
There's a gap between
I mean, to the point that it's literally sometimes it's a disconnect, like you don't even know she's in there anymore. Every now and then you get a glimmer of her. I've been to this point. You get a glimmer of her, but it's like nurturing that relationship resuscitates who you really are.
Yeah. And it can happen really fast too. And the reason we do that, everybody I think does that. We're all coming down from these generations of traumatized populations, not just families, but populations.
Yes.
Traumatized. And so it's just passed down. And guess what? We are here now understanding that and seeing that and healing it in all directions of space and time. Yeah. When I heal my parents, I heal my children. When my clients start to heal and live themselves, they start teaching their children new ways of living.
Absolutely. Just through showing up differently.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't even have to actually verbalize anything different. No. It's just radiating, once again, radiates that warmth, that compassion, that love.
Yes.
We are changing the course of history, the trajectory of human evolution right now. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
And you sharing this gift of this day, the ripple effect of it for everybody who listens, to each and every contributor, cannot be underestimated. It's huge.
Yeah. It is. It's not really mine. I just in the conduit.
It's coming through you. It's what
absolutely.
You
I don't even.
No, it's that's the thing. We are no longer taking what's the word credit for. It's not about that. It's like, oh well, this is my divine path. This is who I'm here to be. And it's wild when we open up to who I am here to be. And it's not about us, and it is about us, and there's no separation.
Really, truly. When it becomes that, I think that's embodiment.
Yes. Yeah. When you're just doing what you're shown to do.
Absolutely.
Without a real agenda there. It's just like, oh, I guess this is what I'm doing now.
Right. This is who I am.
Yeah. And we give other people permission to do the same.
Yes. That's the hugest part. Honestly, it's huge for us, but the ripple is the unspoken permission
Right?
that others are given to embark on their own pursuit.
Exactly. And it all starts here. I've healed this, and then what? And then what? And then what?
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing.
It's perfect.
One of my clients just wrote a book about a fiction book. It was brilliant. I just read like the first, like her draft, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till the world sees this. Of her evolution from domestic violence and what she looked like after leaving this relationship, and then how, and she paints this picture of her healing journey in such a real way. And she weaves in there like calming the nervous system and these really practical things that we all go through. And I'm like, you are a genius. Like I could never do that. But she brings her unique packaging.
Yes.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. Her brand, the semblance of her gifts.
Right. Exactly. Her
recognized and activated.
And she's created something that did not exist. And this book of hers will change lives. I mean, people who are reading, I remember reading one chapter and I cried. Her mother read a chapter and cried and called her. Like, it's real and it's amazing. I cannot tell you the power that we have when we step into just our radiance.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it truly is.
It is.
Thank you.
This thing you do every year is your radiance coming through. You don't know what it's going to do. There's no agenda. It's just like, this is what I'm called to do. I guess I'm doing it.
Yes. It's exactly.
It's so fascinating. And
it's so interesting because, coaches have said to me various, well, how are you monetizing it? I'm like, no, that pollutes it. That's not, it literally adjusts the whole, it gives it an agenda.
Right. Exactly.
It removes the purity. And I think when we live our lives that way, that's when we are radiant.
Yes. Yeah. We're just being. It's just being.
Yeah.
And answering a call.
So would you define radiance then as the beingness of embodiment?
The beingness of embodiment. Yeah. Yeah. And I also think about it as tuning into your own light. That's it. When you tune into your own light, like through, morning affirmations and through really feeling I am enough, I'm doing enough, I have enough, really feeling it. And then how do I go about my life? How do I go about this day? Where there's not a chasing energy, a controlling, I got to make that person see me this way. I got to make that person do this and perform. And that person, I need to fix that person. When we are loving ourselves completely, fully, exactly as we are in this moment, we are doing the same for everyone around us, because everything we see outside is us pushed out. So people feel safe with us. There's no agenda. Like you said, there's no agenda. I love you as you are in this moment. I have gone through so the divorce, that was a big thing. And through your work specifically, you leading me to that forgiveness, the Art of Forgiveness book, I applied that work, completely changed the dynamic between my ex-husband and I. And now to this day, we are good friends. I wouldn't say we're good friends. We don't hang out, but we chat frequently and regularly and in a very supportive way about our children, and how can we help him through this. And together we have helped our son, our oldest, through really challenging, like he's in the other room right now, sober, through his addiction, through his almost not making it.
Yeah.
And there's glimpses of getting our son back.
Mm.
And I consider that like to be my biggest achievement in life, is repairing that relationship.
Yes.
And loving my son as he is, even when he's not okay.
Yeah.
Has been
Absolutely.
the greatest gift I can give him.
Absolutely.
I don't need you to change. I love you as you are.
Love is not a conditional thing.
And we do that for ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And when we can do it for ourselves, we can,
Absolutely.
it automatically radiates.
Absolutely. It's not even available unless we do it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the toughest work. But it's the most rewarding, the most fruitful,
Mm-hmm.
most inspiring.
Yeah. And it's slow work, because it's not using, as Joe Dispenza says, it's not matter to matter. I'm going to make this thing happen. I'm going to work really hard and grind and make this happen. It's energetic work.
There's a component of allowing too.
Yeah. Through our energy, that's how we are potent, powerful, and profound.
Love it. There's the 3 P's.
It's through our energy. And so all we have to do, this is so mind-blowing. People don't get it, but when they do, they do. The only thing you ever have to do in any day is to elevate your energy, close that gap between who you've been performing and acting as and who you truly are, and you elevate. And this is where all the solutions are. There are no problems up in this elevated frequency.
Yeah.
But we've been conditioned through the male kind of energy of do it, show it, make it happen, compete. And we're learning to balance that out now. We're learning to trust the feminine energy. And we're bringing balance to the world by not doing so much, but allowing through our being okay.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, there's a lot of nuggets in there.
There's
I'll get some more when I re-listen to it. There were a lot of nuggets dropped. So as always, I absolutely appreciate you. I admire you. I admire your tenacity that has become seamlessly effortless. That is a level of mastery, and it's really a pleasure to view it through you. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you've been a wonderful guide for me. So,
well, Merry Christmas to you.
You too. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank
Absolutely.
you for your contribution here, Gina.
Thank you. You're well.